Hello YouTube, it's me Vdeogamer, and this is the how to draw video game characters tutorial, and today I'm going to be drawing Rob from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I'm pretty sure he appeared before that or whatever, but anyway, the supplies you will need for this tutorial is sketchbook or copy paper, pencil with an eraser, mechanical pencil for details, permanent markers for outlines, and colored pencils if you want to color your drawing. So, without further ado, let the drawing begin. So, first off, to start off Rob, I decided to add on, or just sketch out the characters, because I plan on having two characters and I don't want to get confused when I'm drawing, because there's going to be a lot of outlines that I can't erase. And starting on Rob, jeez, they're so similar. We're just going to put in his large circle eyes, and then around that we're just going to enclose them in a sort of roundish rectangle, and then add another roundish rectangle for the shape of the head. And I decided to throw in a little bit of glare to his eyes, like such. Just smooth it off a bit more. And then from there, just draw his box-like head out just a little ways. Doesn't have to be too long, but just make it so that it seems like his head is three-dimensional. And on the side of his head, he has this other smallish rectangle standing out. And then his neck is just sort of I guess it's more like a spine, I don't know, but it's basically what holds him up. And it's just a whole bunch of rectangles stacked on top of each other for now. Then around that, about 2 rectangles down, you're going to begin on the chest area, I guess. This sort of is the place where the arms start off. Whenever you're doing this and making it three-dimensional and stuff, you need to make sure that you keep all your lines in sync with each other so that it actually looks 3D somewhat. As you can see what I'm doing right now. And learning how to draw 3D is sort of a difficult process. It takes a lot of time to learn, but once you get it down, it actually adds a lot to a drawing. So we're going to start on the arm now. Basically, it starts out with some sort of joint for the arms to swivel on, move back and forth. Those are just sort of half circles on the sides of his body. And they're sort of rounded off at the top. Then from the inside of the half circle, we're just going to start off the weird bump shape of an arm he has. Rob turned out to be a tricky character to draw for me, just because of how much perspective went into making him. And then from that large part of his arm, just draw out a straight, thin, skinny part of his arm. Then on his hand, just add in the point where it hinges off. And then draw in his big clamp, I guess. It's more like a clamp hand, I guess. And that makes it look so 3D just by taking the shape as it is and adding a shape like it slanted, if that made any sense to you guys whatsoever. But in order to practice 3D, just look at boxes and stuff around your house. Anything square, you can see how it's shaped and how it sort of looks like it's just going off into the distance. And it just requires a lot of practice and looking at things to understand 3D. But once you get it, you can use it in just about any drawing. And on his other arm, basically the same process, only difference being that you don't see it as a half circle, you see it more as a rectangle with a little bit of a blob on top. Yet that still turns out to look like what we're trying to achieve. And then on the other hand, it's like the same thing from a different perspective. And draw his rectangle stacked spine. Add a little bit of shine to it so it looks like a circle or cylinder, more like it. Add a larger cylinder near the bottom, and then just around that, draw a circle for the base. And if you don't understand what I'm saying whenever I say all this 3D stuff, it's gonna help you out a lot if you have some sort of source picture to look off of. Because in case you haven't noticed, I'm not the best at giving instruction on drawing 3D. It's kind of difficult, and it requires a lot of time to learn it. And I still have trouble with it a lot. So if you can just practice on it and keep working at it, you'll get better and better. And yeah, the base is pretty much the hardest part. And if you don't have anything to look off of, like a picture of Rob, it might be sort of difficult for you to draw it. But it just angles off around in sort of like a hexagon shape. And it has all these different parts coming off of it on the side. It just seems sort of angled. And then on the front, it has two of these blocks sort of coming out over top of the base, as it looks like. And then between those, there's one of those little triangular slashes. Now what you're going to do is you're going to finish up all the minor details of Rob, whatever that may be, whether you left out some of the detail lines or you forgot to get rid of some of your sketch lines. Just finish up all your outlines, and then you'll be ready for the final outline. What I decided to do for this two-character drawing was to have Rob holding a red Pikmin. I don't know. I just thought it was funny at the time. And now what you're going to do is you're going to outline Rob with a fine point Sharpie. Just outline all the lines you plan on keeping for Rob. And this will give us a much cleaner drawing. Just be careful when you're doing it. You don't want to outline too fast, because then you'll be very inaccurate. And you don't want to outline too slow, because then your lines will be all wobbly, and that won't look good at all. So you have to outline at a steady pace in order to get good lines. Random cereal moment. Sorry about that. Continue. So now we're going to start coloring Rob. And I found that a lot of colors on him is just mostly grayish, peachish color. It's more like, I don't know, peach. Yeah, it's a grayish, peachish color for most of it. And he has a lot of red on him too, which contrasts to it. And the area of his eyes is just mostly black. So it's simple colors. It's just what you can do with these simple colors is use them to make the 3D stand out more and shade a little bit among the 3D parts. This just helps your drawing out a whole lot. And what I'm doing right now is just laying down a basic shade of each color at first. This will allow me to add some shading later on. For the gray of the face, I'm starting out with a very light gray, as you can see. Adding it a little bit more to the eyes to give it some depth in the eyes. Because, like, black is hardly ever just black. You want to do a lot of different colors in the eyes to make them seem sort of dimensional. And then what we're going to do on the face area around the eyes is we're going to take several various shades of gray, black, dark blue, and just sort of color away from it in a radial pattern just to match the circular rectangle. And leave a few light spaces when you do this, and this will sort of help it to make it look like it's metallic and 3D. Just keep on progressing on that. That just makes it look a whole lot more metallic, and it just really pops out. The slashes on the base are just a dark blue. And on the sides of the spine, I decided to add in some sort of dark goldish brown color to the very edge. And then a little bit of gray to the other edge. And on the half circles for the arm starts, I just added in a little bit of those colors as well. What you're trying to do is make everything seem sort of metallic, so that requires you to sort of blend some of the different colors, different shades of those colors. Like for the peach, I'm throwing in a bunch of grays and darker peach colors, sort of brass, bronze colors. And it's almost random, but you always want to color in straight lines across whatever surface it may be, whether it's horizontal, vertical, diagonal. You have to color in lines that fit the lines going across it, if that makes any sense whatsoever. And on the arm or the hand, just add in a line going right across the center of it. Then a lot of darker colors because it's a much darker gray than most else, like a black. And the question mark above his head is going to be red, just a solid red, not much to it there. And then on the red, everywhere else, we're going to do the same basic shading principle we've been using, except coloring darker where the shadows should be on the body of Rob. I decided to have all my shadows to the bottom left because my lighting source is up in the top right somewhere. Just add that in, such. And on the base, the red pretty much follows the same principle. You have your brightest reds towards the light and your darkest reds away from it. And that's pretty much how you color Rob. The little Peakman guy is just a red with a green leaf on top. He kind of has some shading to him, but not a whole bunch. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial of how to color Rob. You should check out the next part of this tutorial, which is how to draw Olimar. I guess not really related to Rob, it's just the next character in this drawing. Or if you just want to see the finished drawing, you can click the bottom link to go to the very end of this tutorial. Drawing. 2-character drawing. That's what I meant. Yeah. I'm just gonna go now.